Away the Nixie team away. Away the Nixie team away. Set general quarters. Set general quarters. General quarters, all hands, leave out of station. General quarters, all hands, leave out of station.
Woohoo, woohoo. Did I just say woohoo? I think I said...
You did.
I think I said woohoo.
I think you said woo-woo.
Okay, I'm pretty sure about the woohoo. Hey, tonight, Clint and BZ are going to tear through the gristle of today's screaming headlines and rip out the sinewy tendons of truth ensconced within, all from the hoary streets of Sacramento, Fornicalia, exposing the trembling, toady, sniveling jackanapes? Jackanapes. Good God, BZ. And fripperous flopdoodles infesting altogether too much of this great nation of ours. Please feel free to partake of our chat room at shrmedia.com. We are featuring tonight, one time only, the effervescent contrarian Sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of the Zeppmeister, where we are doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts. I want to tell you this, very important. Some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC. Batteries not included. Terracross dotted line. Jejo in Mexico. Patent pending. Warranty void in Montenegro. Tonight, Clint and BZ are going to talk about a veritable gaggle, a shrewdness, a murmuration, an obstinacy, a war and a pandemonium, a muster, a covey, an unkindness, a maelstrom, a knot, a shiver, a murder, an intrusion, a smack, a hive, a prickle. Yea, a veritable cauldron of topics yonder across from me right now. Present and accounted for is Sackheads Clint, one each.
Yes.
And I'll be your server and obese somnambulistic reprobate for tonight. Sorry, I again apologize. We don't take American Express or personal checks. Remember, this is an exhibition, not a competition, so please. No wagering. Thank you. What?
Nothing.
Okay.
No, I love it.
Now, I have to tell everybody.
Uh-huh.
This is a BZ story. I have to tell this to you.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to ask you if you have a Clint story.
I do.
But first I have to tell you a story.
Yeah.
And I need to tell everybody in the chat room. So, welcome to Mike. Welcome to the Alaskan in the chat room.
And welcome to B. Zeppelin, whoever the hell that is.
Whoever the hell that is.
I'd be in there too, but I don't have a keyboard.
I keep saying that I'm going to... we've got two laptops sitting behind you that we're going to have to resurrect.
Huh.
Just so that you have, you can get in there, you can look at the...
If I have a keyboard, can't I just type in if I have a keyboard?
I don't think it works that way. Oh, we have to set you up with a laptop.
All I need is a keyboard. Then if I type stuff, won't it just like magically appear?
If you think hard enough. You have to think hard enough for that to happen.
I can do
that. I think you can do that. Okay, here's what happened. And so I pimped the hell out of my show last night.
Okay.
I went to places on social media that I'd never been before.
Did you go to the dark web?
No, I didn't go to the dark web. Okay. I don't have its locale. I mean, it's south of Galt, but I wasn't exactly sure, and I didn't know if you could get there from Highway 99.
I think it's somewhere in Stockton.
Is it? Oh, that's why I didn't go so far.
So.
Okay, all right. So in any event, I pimped the hell out of social media for my show last night, and I filled up the chat room in like the first minute. Then I made an observation and looked at the bottom of the chat room and said, 9 online plus me, full. It said full in red. And I said, wait. Hold up on that there car wash, because BZ right here has paid money to have the chat roll open to 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying good well until I realized that someone's credit card got hacked. And someone hadn't gone back into chat roll and updated with the new credit card information. So, folks, my bad on that one. Then, what I also did last night is I said in social media, because I don't know, you can see that thing over there. That's how the phone number system. That's the phone number system. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, it's going to be Open Line Tuesday. Everybody call in. My God. And I did. I had a lot of people that were calling in. It was great. Except that when I opened up the PC USB slider over here, all I got was an echo. Well, I got Echo, 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 echo. So it was completely unfucking listenable. You could not listen to that. It was terrible. So Mike called last night. I took a call from Mike, and I took a call from Kaiser. But the only reason I got anybody on the phone is because, well, they went through Facebook. And not everybody calls through Facebook. So I got here a little bit early tonight, and Sean was here, and I said, we got to go through this bad boy and see if we can figure it out. Well, it turns out, and I did not know this, we have 3 cameras. So we have... Wow. That's weird. Okay. Anyway. So, I was looking around, and I didn't know we have 3 cameras, like I said, in the room here.
Right.
And I did not realize, let me see, there's 1 dedicated camera right there, 2 dedicated camera right there, and then the 3rd dedicated camera right there. Well, what I didn't realize... Are you hearing something?
No.
Like a telephone? Okay. All right.
Are you losing it, BC?
I swear to... I'm hearing something in my headphones. It sounds like somebody's trying to make a phone call. Am I getting a phone call from God?
You might be.
It makes me... Maybe I better tune in. Anyway, what I discovered is that each one of these cameras has a microphone on them, okay? So what we'd done when we revamped the studio is we fixed that one, we fixed that one, but we didn't fix that one right there. So the reason we were getting an echo...
That little guy?
This little teeny guy right there. Is I hadn't turned off, and we hadn't gone into XSplit and turned off the volume on that thing, so we were getting a terrible, terrible echo.
Got it.
Throughout all of it. So I just wanted everybody to know in chat, we fixed it. So thanks, Alaskan. Thanks, Mike, for giving us a second chance here tonight. So I guess the question is, when I go into social media and I tell people again for my show tomorrow night, hey, come into the chat room. And everybody goes, pfft. And then I say, hey, call the 209 number. And everybody goes, pfft. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to try that tonight. Sometime during the show, I'm going to invite you guys to call the 209 number, and we're going to see if it works, because we tested it here, we recorded it, and okay, I'm pretty sure...
That's an 877 number. That's not a 209 number.
On X-Lite over here, the number's 209-284-3210. So you should have that on your screen over there, right? Can
yeah,
you
I
see
do.
that?
My nose gets in the way sometimes.
Okay, well, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's right. So anyway, tomorrow night I'm going to have a special report about basically the specter of bar footsteps, because you know what? Lots of people are hearing footsteps. So thanks to everybody who's here tonight in chat, listening live at the SHR Media Studios. We got them up and running now. And Sackheads Clint, welcome. Great to see you here.
Thank you.
And
what does that mean?
What is what?
On the screen by the incoming call.
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you what. Let's take an incoming call and see if it works. Unidentified caller, identify yourself.
Yeah, this is Sackheads Clint.
Sackheads Clint, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? Is the phone lines working tonight?
Think so.
Okay, excellent. I'll call back in later.
Okay.
Okay, I love Sackheads Clint, by the way. His nose is super sexy.
I know, it is. He's got a hell of a nose. Hey, thanks, caller.
Okay, thanks, BC. Bye.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Wow, the phone system works.
So apparently the phone system works. That is grand. So I'm really happy to see that. Thanks for the unknown caller who called in.
Yeah, it sounds like a great guy.
And it was, clearly. Oh, I have to say this.
Oh.
Thanks to Sackheads Clint.
My pleasure.
For getting me my poison, which is Diet Pepsi. No, I don't have stock with Diet Pepsi. I just happen to really like Diet Pepsi, and Sackheads Clint is kind enough to get that for me. I don't know if I'm strong enough to open the son of a bitch.
I can help you.
It's all wet. Okay, so you said you have a Sackheads Clint story.
I do. So yesterday, I was at the airport.
Victory.
Nice work. Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you.
I had to fly down to Southern California and back, made for a very long day. But I was.
Did you go Southwest?
I always go Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm flying in state or somewhere, I go Southwest quite frequently.
Okay, I got to ask you before we even do that. I got to ask you a question about Southwest.
Sure.
Is it still a cattle car, and how much do they charge you? Do they charge you for bags? Do they charge you for?
I don't know. I didn't pay for it.
Food?
No. They don't charge you for bags or anything, and I didn't pay for the ticket.
And do they still go by? You look at your ticket, you get an A or a B or a C. And
so you have to
load
check in
and,
like 24 hours in advance, unless you pay the fee, like $20 or whatever it is, for them to automatically check you in. But I don't want to give them $20 extra. So I wait and I just hit the button over and over on the refresh screen. But look, I like Southwest. They're very efficient. They're funny. The pilots are all. I mean, I think a lot of them are former military folks. They're very friendly. They usually let military folks board, pre-board, and they always say thank you to their veterans. Yeah, so I like Southwest, and the other thing I like about Southwest is all of their airplanes are the same. What a great business model. Talk about maintenance, ease of maintenance, ease of training for your maintenance personnel.
Yeah.
Ordering parts,
That's
making sure.
Very true.
And so I like Southwest. I don't know that I would fly them to Hawaii because, they started going to Hawaii now. So I don't know that I'd take them there because it's like you said, for food, what are the options there? I'm not real sure.
Hawaii is what a three? No,
about a
4.5
to 5 hour flight.
Yeah. See, and if they're not going to feed you chow, real honest to God chow in 5 hours, that's kind of a bite in the butt.
Yeah, you gotta pay. I mean, I've flown Alaska in there and stuff, and it's good. Like you pay their snack box or whatever. It's fine, whatever. It's fine. But it's just Southwest. You don't have. I don't like not having assigned seating for longer flights. But hey, if I'm not paying for it and I'm getting shuttled somewhere else, then that's what I fly. And if I'm flying, even if I'm in my own time and I'm flying somewhere relatively close, California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, something like that, I'll fly Southwest just because, for the price, and I like the company and I like the business model that they have.
They're the big dog in town, and then you know what? They'll get the 737 MAX 8. They'll get all that stuff taken care of anyway.
Yeah, and even their newer plane, it's all free Wi-Fi, and you can stream their movies and their television shows, and it's pretty good. So what they don't do necessarily, and they don't charge for bags.
You mean on flight, carry-ons?
No, I'm talking luggage goes underneath the airplane. Their slogan is bags fly free.
No, I thought everybody in the airline business is charging for bags.
Not Southwest.
And they're charging for carry-on.
Not Southwest. United charges for carry-on.
I thought everybody charged for both of those.
No, so I'm flying
under the plane, overhead.
A lot of them do. So I've flown Alaska. I've flown American. I don't fly United because they wanted to charge me for my carry-on, and that's bullshit.
Alaska used to be a really good carrier. I don't know what they are now, but
yeah,
they used to be pretty cool.
They're decent. They're good. I like Alaska.
Did you get the on Southwest? Did you get the hi? I'm the attendant, and they give you kind of a semi-funny kind of routine or something like that?
A little bit. They just tend to have more personality. On those flights.
I would agree.
They tend to have more personality.
I would agree.
So I'm waiting for my plane, and I'm in the terminal, and I always kind of stay. Kind of like I'm like incognito mode, right? I usually kind of stay back, kind of in the I'm not necessarily in the corners, but not in the middle of the room. I don't sit in the middle of the terminal with everybody else. I kind of hang back. I'm kind of off, to the side, and I was kind of along the one of the walls, and there was a row of seating to my left, which was empty, and because I get to the airport pretty early, and I had my back was kind of against the wall and open to the main breezeway to my right, and I'm facing the rest of the terminal, and I'm sitting there and I'm kind of minding my own business. I'm not really on my phone or anything. I'm just just sitting there kind of waiting, and this individual comes walking up, and he was an employee of the airport, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And this gentleman comes walks past me and sits probably about 4 or 5 chairs deep to my left, where the row of chairs are. And I didn't think about it. Gets his phone out, and I'm kind of just watching and going about my business. But I'm very aware of his presence. And he starts talking, And it's clear to me that the individual has a retarded mental development state. And I don't use the word retard as a noun. I use it as a verb. So I'm not trying to offend anybody or anything like that. But it still is a valid word in the dictionary. And I know people get in trouble for their language these days. But this is our fucking show, so they can eat a big one.
That's right. And we can say whatever we want.
We can say whatever the fuck we want. But I am sensitive to that. So I'm going to say that his development was retarded at some stage. And I could tell that based upon his speech and demeanor at the time. If you know what I'm referring to, oftentimes people with delayed developmental issues and so forth, they can talk a certain way or they act a certain way.
Sure. And
so what drew my attention to this individual is he's on the phone, and I hear him say in the way he's speaking, I hear him say, "I'd like to see you again." And I'm not going to mimic the voice because I think that's mean. But he has.
Okay, was it really loud? Was he really loud?
He was louder. Yeah, he was louder. He was trying not to be, but he was louder just in the manner he spoke. Right, not understanding maybe social norms or volume and so forth.
So a lot of people. What you're saying is a lot of people can't really help but hear.
I'm
his
saying
side of the conversation.
He was away. I'm saying I couldn't help but hear, given my proximity. But it's the content of the conversation that was fucking hilarious. Okay. So much so that I actually had to. I literally stepped away and I called Sackhead Sean to relay this story.
No, I clearly didn't hear that story.
And I didn't want to tell you because I wanted to surprise you with it tonight.
Okay.
But Sean heard the story because I couldn't freaking help it.
Okay.
So he's talking loud and he says, I can't wait to see you again, or I want to see you again. And I hear kind of a response, and I'm not really paying attention until he says this. He says, I want to see you again in 2 weeks. I get paid again in 2 weeks. I want to see you in 2 weeks. And I hear the response, and now I'm tuned in because that seems interesting to me, right?
The correlation
and now I'm like, okay,
time and pay.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's a date. Like, that's pretty cool. And I hear this voice respond, yeah, I'd love to see you too, baby. And the voice it has the inflection and the tone of an African American female, or of a black female, and I say that based again tone, inflection, and so forth of the voice.
Right.
And now I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And I hear him say, I had a really good time last night. And she said, I had a really good time too, baby. And she's on speakerphone. He's holding his phone out in one hand. And he's talking in a little elevated volume. I don't think he's meaning to. And she is responding, and he's like, and he said something like, I really liked it a lot. And she said, I really had a good time too. And he says, okay, so I want to see you in 2 weeks when I get paid. And she said, okay. And she goes, so you working hard? And he says, yes, I'm working hard. And I'm paraphrasing the conversation now, but it's literally this simplistic. So I'm not too far off, but I'm not quoting verbatim per se. I might be. But then she says, well, I'll text you a couple times, in the next couple weeks, see how you're doing, but call me in 2 weeks when you get paid. We'll get together. And he was like, okay. And he hung up his phone and he got up, big shit-eating grin on his face, happier than and just walks past me.
He's got everything set up now.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, walks past me.
He's
walks
got
the
his
terminal.
next 2 weeks going.
He stops. He turns around, so he's almost like in that, okay, what do I do now mode? Stops, turns around, takes a couple steps back, and then turns around and then walks off, kind of like with his head, just kind of walks off. And I was like, holy shit.
Did I just hear what I thought I heard?
I just heard that.
Yeah, and that must... you were thinking...
I was like, if I had rocks, I would throw rocks at his phone because I'm pretty sure that was a prostitute.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
I'm pretty sure he was hooked. And then, so I had to call Sean because that was fucking hilarious to me. And then I actually had kind of a serious thought. And my thought was, why do we really give a shit if somebody out there wants to engage in consensual sex with another adult? Because is this guy really going to be able to get a date? Or, I mean, maybe, right? But probably very difficult. He still has needs and urges, and if there's a young lady entrepreneur out there,
But
and
if he can,
right,
okay,
right,
more
and look,
power to the
and
guy.
look, I'm not here. I'm not having a moral debate because I understand a lot of our listeners have a religious background. I'm religious. I disagree with prostitution on a moral and a religious grounds. However, the libertarian in me, little L, says, hey, if we can tax it and regulate it and they're engaging in the behavior anyways and we can clean it up and have it accountable and perhaps impact the human trafficking aspect and so forth because we're taking some of that market away. And if two consenting adults engage in an exchange of goods, I mean, really, what's the difference between him taking her out for dinner and a movie? You're just cutting out dinner and the movie.
Right, but there is still the
right.
How should we say it? There's still a fiduciary aspect to it.
Yes.
If you just take out the food and the driving and the film.
Yes, because let's be honest, what is the goal of 99% of the guys out there when they're taking a lady out? There's an end game in play, right?
See, I can't speak for now. But in my era, well, yes,
most
def,
I'm pretty sure
definitely.
I'm pretty sure that's the case, right? So, yeah. Anyways, I called Sean, and Sean was laughing. He was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I was like, "Oh my god, I wish you were here." I said, "I want to call BZ, however, I think this is going to be my Clint story of the week," and he says it absolutely has to be your Clint story for the week.
I think it's a great Clint story.
Now, I do want to say this: I picked up a new book. You may borrow it if you'd like when I'm done with it. I'm not done with it, but I did bring it in to show other people that are watching
fiction,
this.
nonfiction.
It is nonfiction.
Okay.
And what kills me is I had no idea about this story.
Okay.
And I was very surprised. Did you know? You probably know. I had no idea. And I'm George Washington is my favorite historical figure ever. I absolutely love George Washington. But did you know that there was a conspiracy to murder him at right around 1776? Did you know that there was?
No, something tickles the back of my brain, like kind of yes, but in full admittance, I don't know anything about the details. And yeah, maybe I did. Mostly I did. No.
Okay, so the British attempted. And I'm still reading the book, but the long and short of the story is the British attempted to set up an assassination through George Washington by basically paying off his closest guards. He had elite guards that were his protectors, right? The soldiers who were supposedly very loyal to him and so forth.
Trivia.
Yes.
How tall was he?
He was 6 foot.
6'4".
Okay. He was over 6 foot at the time. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and this is at a time when the average height was like 5'7",
5'8".
So his one of his guards was actually infiltrated, and there was a plot to. Some people say it was a plot to kidnap him. Some say, but no, it was a plot to kill him, and it involved the British governor of New York at the time, as well as some others, and they wanted to take him out to really end the revolution right then and there.
Okay,
and this incident is the foundation of the whole Washington spy ring, and really where the concept of counterintelligence came from an American perspective.
Oh, cool.
Which is pretty cool. And our counterintelligence now is even modeled after this incident actually kind of played a role in getting that started. So
now the Alaskan in chat says it was one of the generals that wanted his job. Is that what you're discovering, or did you just start the book?
It's not. So I started the book. However, I was delving into it as much as I could, and I'll be honest, Alaskan, I don't know if one of his generals was involved in that or not, but I do know that the loyalist governor of New York was the one that kind of got the ball rolling on this whole thing. So I don't know if he went to one of the generals and then got buy-in from the generals, and that's how he got to one of Washington's guys. I don't know. But
you say you have the book. Who now? What's it?
There's the book.
Oh, okay.
If you can see it.
Brad Meltzer.
Yes.
Okay, I've read a lot of Brad Meltzer.
Okay, so he's written a lot of
written a lot of fiction, but Brad Meltzer is big into American
And
history.
yes, he is.
He's huge into American
Yes, he is.
history.
So it's called The First Conspiracy: The Secret Plot to Kill George Washington.
I'd love to have that dude on.
And what's interesting is, he talks about, look how long it took us to discover about the Culper Ring, right? The spies that George Washington had working for him at the time of the Revolution, and how secret it was, that nobody even knew about its existence until the letters were found, in the 1940s, I think. Alaskan, help me out on this, but it was in the 20th century when the whole Culper Ring and Washington's spy ring really came to light. And this is another example of how counterintelligence played a role, and finding historical documents to really kind of solidify this is difficult at best, and the authors actually talk about that in their notes, which I read first. But look, it's pretty darn good so far. I've read through part 1 of the book, so it sets the scene very nicely. There's a couple comments in the book that the author makes that I'm kind of like, okay. So it's a little different for me, but the information is very good, and it's very well written. And I just wanted to share that with you and with our listeners tonight.
Well, thanks. I read a ton of books. Now, I don't know if you necessarily have a lot of time for reading per se, but I read
every night.
Okay.
No matter how late I go to bed, I read. I usually have one nonfiction book and one fiction book going.
Okay.
And currently, my nonfiction is Marcus Aurelius Meditations, and my nonfiction book is George R.R. Martin, the Targaryen book, because I love.
Oh,
Game
the
of
one in
Thrones.
the red cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my nonfiction right now.
Okay, since you went there, and we got 3 more minutes before the bottom of the hour break. I read George R.R. Martin, but I read him. I read him. The first book I ever encountered with him was one that I've read like 3 or 4 times since, because it's just so damn good. And I wasn't a big fan of his fantasy stuff until, because he started writing that in 96, 95, 96, 97, right around in there. The first, the Game of Ice and Fire.
The Song of Fire and Ice.
Song of Fire and Ice. And he's up to 5 now, and people are waiting for his number 6. And then I started watching Game of Thrones in 2011 is when that started. And I thought, this is pretty good. As a matter of fact, I really like this. So I started to buy the books, plural. And I find it interesting that you're reading that. Have you read any of the other Game of Thrones books?
Oh, I've read all of them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I've read all of them.
Okay. Because one thing that I discovered about George R.R. Martin is he is very dense.
Oh, yes.
And it's not
yes.
like, because folks, I want to tell you, if you're looking for a book that you can, like God, who's that guy? James Patterson. If you're looking for a James Patterson type book where you'll rip through one of his books in, like, overnight, you could go through one of his books, because they're not dense at all. They're meant for a very quick read.
And it's a good story.
And they're all, yes.
Yeah,
And I'm
they're
not
good
denigrating that. There is a place for James Patterson.
Yes.
But if you expect to get that out of a George R.R. Martin book, oh no. You have got dense characters. You've got a backstory. In the back of his book, he puts all the various houses and the families and the links and who's linked to who. Because in that world, it's all about your family.
Yes.
And so, am I a Game of Thrones folk? Yeah, I am. This is the last season of Game of Thrones. This was the 3rd episode last Sunday.
I think 4. There's only 2 left.
Oh.
There's
This is only
left.
a 6-episode year?
Yes.
Okay, so the big battle was number 3.
Yes.
There was that, and that was like 80 minutes long. That was
Yes.
almost an hour and a half, just in and of itself.
Yep.
Great battle scenes. Now this one, Cersei has pissed off.
You may be giving spoilers to some of our listeners who haven't watched it yet. So
Okay. Well, anyway, let's just say that, wow, at the end of number 4.
you and I can talk on the break.
It's like, holy crap. But I have to tell you this. I did not see this. Somebody said that there was a Starbucks cup somewhere in the back
Yes, there
of
was.
episode number 4.
Yes, there was.
I did not see that.
in one of the shots.
And I have I have yet to go back to see that particular episode. Or that thing. Okay, it's 8:30. It's 11:30 on the East Coast.
Let's take a break.
We got to take a break, and when we come back, we've got a ton of stories, most of which we've sent back and forth between each other, and wow, a lot of stuff has happened. We didn't talk about Barr last week.
Oh, we're going to talk about him tonight.
I think that we may amend that for tonight. So, folks, don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplanestalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads against tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
S-H-A-T.
Sackheads against tyranny.
Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same sack time, same sack channel.
Yep. shrmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. Insidious. You know, we talked about this for, a good, for the last 3 years. And finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of...
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Like a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. It's the Sackheads Against Tyranny show. I am Sackheads BZ. Right over there. Where? Right over there. Where? Right over there. That's Sackheads Clint. I'm Sackheads BZ. And we are the Sackheads Against Tyranny. You're listening to us in the SHR Media studios. And we are live. And I'm glad that everybody is here. After last night, though, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm going to have to go to great lengths in order to make up my chat roll back and to make up for the foolishness that was the phone system last night. So I told Clint, I went on social media and pimped the hell out of last night's show. So then only 9 people can get into the chat roll, and then people tried to call on the phone, and it was a hot mess. Well, we got a ton of stuff we can talk about tonight. Where do you want to start? We've got there's the video from the Muslims that are in Philadelphia.
I was actually just looking at that.
There's the California Senate decision about the ballot.
So let's talk with the Muslim American Society Islamic Center in Philadelphia first.
Alrighty.
So the Muslim American Society Islamic Center in Philadelphia, they posted a video on their website. Was it on their Facebook page that they posted it? They were celebrating Ummah Day, where young kids
Facebook page. There it is. I was looking at it. Yep. Facebook page.
are wearing Palestinian scarves, and they were performing poetry and singing songs and so forth, where the content of those poems and those songs was about killing for Allah, killing in the name of Allah. This is an American.
Yeah, this is in Philadelphia.
Islamic Center. This is in Philadelphia, where our country started. Really, the Middle East Media Research Institute alerted Fox News to the video. Fox News then ran a story about it, and that's where I got the information from. Do you have the video or the audio from it?
Let's see. It says there were Muslim children in Philadelphia singing songs and reading poetry about killing people in the name of Allah.
So there's a translation by the Middle East Media Research Institute. They translated the video, and quoting from the Fox News article.
Now I don't have the video itself. So I've got Todd Starnes reacting, and I've got a representative.
Okay,
reacting.
so quoting the video as translated by the group I just said, quote, "The land of the Prophet Muhammad's night journey is calling us. Our Palestine must return to us. We will defend the land of divine guidance with our bodies, and we will sacrifice our souls without hesitation. We will chop off their heads, and we will liberate the sorrowful and exalted Al-Aqsa Mosque." I don't know what that is. "We will lead the army of Allah fulfilling his promise, and we will subject them to eternal torture."
Okay. I found it. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay.
I won't be able to tell you what it says. You know what? No. Fuck them. I don't want to give them any more publicity.
I want to hear if it's...
Oh, you want to hear it?
I want to hear if any of this is in English or if it's in Farsi, because I don't know. It's a YouTube video. And
a competitor that purchased the New York...
It's from memory. Let's see. That was recorded on Facebook May 28th.
A total of 161 workers lost their jobs, including 65 reporters and editors, citing a worker adjustment and retraining notification act notice filed with the Louisiana Workforce Commission.
Okay, it's not in English. That's all I need to know. Okay, so it said, "We will chop off their heads. We will liberate the sorrowful and exalt Al-Aqsa Mosque. We will lead the army of Allah fulfilling his promise, and we will subject them to eternal torture." Now, Oddly enough, with that, if I can find it,
isn't that hate? Isn't that hate? Wouldn't that be advocating for a hate crime? Because they want to kill and behead people and have them eternally tortured based on the fact that their religion is not theirs. Correct?
Right, but you have this is what I was looking for. This is another story that goes hand in hand with that. And see, all these stories you're not going to hear anything about.
I think I know which one. Is this the one I sent you earlier?
Yeah. Here's a Washington school district that wants its teachers to bless Muslim students in Arabic during Ramadan, religious liberty group claims. So, just at first blush, what do you think would happen with the American media maggots were it to get out to them that there was a Washington school district that said that teachers had to bless only, I don't know, let's make this up, only Catholic students during Christmas? The American media maggots, the school district, and everyone else on the left would have kittens should this be true.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like Islam gets a pass. Let me tell you why Islam gets the first and easiest pass. Is because many people realize, though they'll never tell you, if you find the wrong dude, they don't mind killing you over things like this, or slights, perceived or real. And that's one of the reasons that people, in my opinion, frankly, don't mention anything about Islam, because these nutballs will kill you over being offended.
Yeah.
But I will say this, I'll be honest too, people are afraid of Islam. We became more afraid of Islam post 9/11 than we were in 1993 when they first tried to take down the World Trade Center under Lovely Bill, and then they smacked the USS Cole, and then we had the opportunity under Lovely Bill to get to the dude in Al-Qaeda. That name, who was the head of Al-Qaeda that was killed?
Osama?
Yeah, Osama bin Laden. We had the opportunity to take him out, but we declined. The story for this one is this. A religious liberty advocacy group is threatening to slap a Seattle area school district with a lawsuit claiming the district. What district would do this? This is Seattle.
That's the district. You just answered your own question.
Yeah.
That's like being shocked that the San Francisco school district would require this.
Claiming the district has urged teachers to bless Muslim students in Arabic. How many of their students know how to pronounce Farsi at all? My guess would be almost zero during the holy month of Ramadan, and give them preferential treatment, including skipping tests. Well, it's Christmas. It's Easter.
Yeah. No. Those are Christian holidays.
Shouldn't kids that identify as being Christian?
No.
Shouldn't they be allowed to skip tests?
Hanukkah.
What about Jewish students?
Yes.
Shouldn't they be allowed to skip tests? No, evil Christianity, evil Jews.
Yes.
Good Muslims. Took down 2 buildings. Good Muslims. Pet them or they'll fucking kill you. I'm tired of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
We don't customarily go off on this. Sometimes I will on my show, but the Chat Show has not said much about this because there's so many other things to go into. But this is nutty. This is absolute insanity.
It's evil. It's evil.
I always do the what do I call it? Beezy's reversal syndrome, which is, okay, whatever scenario you've got, reverse it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, left, right, Muslim, Christian, reverse the factors, reverse the actors in those things, and then see if all would be equal. And if it's not equal, then rampant hypocrisy ensues, just as in this case right here. A Seattle, Washington school district advocating for Islam. Seattle, Washington school district advocating for Christianity would cause a massive kerfuffle, and it probably has in the past, and certainly would today or in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But Islam is okay. What is it because Islam are they're the underdogs? Is that what the perception is in the world of leftists?
I think it's that they've been persecuted, and so therefore we have to be more inclusive of them to make them feel more welcome into our culture.
Okay. I would throw the BZ's reversal theory also in effect like this. Let me throw this out to you, Sackheads Clint.
Sure.
Let's say that all of the terrorist incidents, the many thousands of them, just in the last 10 years, let's say if all of those incidents, Paris subway bombings, all the various bombings in Europe, let's say all of those things were done in the name of Catholicism.
Okay.
Do you think
like the Crusades?
Okay. Do you think after, say, the first year of something like that, do you think there would be 2 years, 3 years of things like that? I kill these people in the name of Catholicism. I behead them in the name of Catholicism. I blow up this subway in the name of Catholicism. I kill these reporters in the name of Catholicism. Question to you. Do you think there would be an unburned Catholic Church in Europe?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I think there would be swift action.
There would be
swift action.
There would be action even here in the United States.
Yes, there would.
You'd find Catholic churches burned to the ground.
Yeah, I think you would see violence erupted. You would see the Vatican under siege. You would see, yes, there would be a massive global response. I do believe that.
I believe that too.
Yep,
completely.
I do believe that. Or Baptist, or
fill in your
the
Christian, Episcopalian, Methodist.
Jewish. What if the Jewish?
Jewish. Oh, yes, I behead these people in the name of. There you go.
Yes,
perfect. Yeah, that would work well. And I'm sure all the synagogues everywhere in Europe would be completely untouched.
Oh, yes.
As they'd be completely untouched here in the United States.
Of course. Yeah, you know it's hypocrisy. You know it's complete bullshit. And it really shouldn't surprise you.
No, there's an element of fear.
It doesn't surprise me that this is happening.
No, it doesn't. But another reason that I go to the website Creeping Sharia. Here's the thing that you have to remember. In 2011 or 2010, Angela Merkel said that multiculti isn't working here and we're going to have to try something else. Then after the massive war in Syria, and she opened up the arms of Europe, Germany first, and then it spilled over into the rest of Europe, the reason that occurred is because of the massive German guilt over World War II. Guaranteed that's what it's about. Massive German, specifically German, it began with her, and then Caucasoid/European guilt over all of these oppressed peoples over here who really need to stay in their own damn homeland and fight for themselves. That having been said, first she was against multiculti, then she wasn't. You go to creepingsharia.com, and the other thing that I remember is she was insistent, people in Norway were insistent, people in Sweden were insistent, that there was no such thing as a no-go zone in their major cities. Year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, but I'm saying about year and a half to 2 years ago, even Angela Merkel admitted, we have no-go zones. Rapes of women, molestations of women in large Muslim enclaves, and they are enclaves because there is very little, if any, assimilation going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not, in America, you're getting enclaves. We can talk about that another time. But the point is, there are no-go zones. They want Sharia law. They, Muslims, want Sharia law. I had Jim Horn in here about a month and a half or 2 years ago who's an
a
expert.
month and a half or 2 years. That's a big span of time, BZ.
Right. Yeah, or 2 months ago. And he essentially said and agreed with me, yes. And I don't think you are going to agree with me, but I've read the Hadith, and I have 2 versions of the Quran that I've read because I want to be informed. My continuing belief is there is no such thing as a moderate Muslim. There's only a Muslim who is not practicing correctly. And especially if you see someone who claims to be a Muslim and their women are not appropriately covered, then you know for a fact they're not practicing Islam. If you read the Quran and the scriptures in the Quran,
I've read the Quran.
I submit that those people that are not hooked up with all that are not doing it right.
So I take a slightly different perspective on that.
Okay.
I think you can have different groups of Muslims read the Quran and have different interpretations, just like you have different group of Christians that read the Bible and have different interpretations, right? You have a 5-point Calvinist differs from a Catholic, which differs from a Protestant, which differs from a Southern Baptist, which differs from a New American Baptist, which differs from... You have a lot of different sects within
Shiite,
within the Christian faith. And I believe the same would probably, just by logic, right, would probably be true of interpretation of parts of the Quran as well. I mean, the Bible was used as a basis for the Crusades. So I don't necessarily, I don't think it's a fair or reasonable argument to say that if you don't interpret the Bible this way, or you're not practicing this way as a Christian, then you're not a practicing Christian. Just like I can't say if you're not practicing Muslim this way, then you're not really a Muslim. I think there are some groups in the Muslim community who would say if you're not practicing it this way, you're not a real Muslim. Just like there are some groups in the Christian faith that are saying, well, if you're not practicing it our way, then you're not a real Christian. So I don't paint with that broad of a brush where I can say that a Muslim is not a true practicing Muslim because they don't have this ideology or they don't conduct themselves this way. That being said, look, there's a lot of stuff in the Quran that kind of makes me go, that's pretty freaking dark. But I read it from an educational standpoint, not from a standpoint of I'm looking to make this my religion, right? I'm not looking to practice this. I kind of want to know.
You were taking
what
a
the book
student's
says, right? I want to know what the book says.
You wanted to educate yourself.
I did.
You wanted to be the classic Clint autodidact.
I don't know,
which is what I was. I've been an autodidact for many years, and an autodidact is simply a multisyllabic word for, and I this is you, self-taught.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you
have not placed the onus of learning on someone else.
Correct.
You have made it your own purpose in life to learn things for your own good and betterment.
Yes,
and then, like we talked last week, and then passing these things down to, for example, to your kids.
Yep. So I can look at the Quran from a place of I've never been to a mosque, right? I've never studied from a religious perspective of that. So my view or my take or my interpretation of what's in the Quran would differ, but I don't think I'm unique. I think that there are Muslims out there who could read the Quran and interpret for themselves, and there are probably other religious leaders within the Muslim community who have interpretations that maybe are within Orthodox, or one group believes it's accepted Orthodox and another may not. I believe you have variation just like you would in the Christian. I have nothing to support that. That literally, and that's me just admitting my ignorance on that issue. I have nothing to support what I'm saying. I do know there are different sects within the Muslim community as well. I don't know if it's as diverse as what's in the Christian, but if you have somebody reading a Christian text or the Book of Mormon or the apocryphatic books of the Catholic Church, I think you're going to have variation of belief based upon evidence that is pulled out from a different perspective or a different reading from person to person or group to group. So I can't just say, oh yeah, if you're not a Muslim with these beliefs, then you're doing it wrong.
I have two phrases that I've used for quite some time. One is more generic, and I've said this for quite a number of years, basically since I started writing my blog in 2004. Islam is as Islam does. If you don't want to have Islam placed under a microscope, stop killing people and blowing shit up.
Yeah.
That's pretty reasonable. The other thing is an if-then equation, specifically regarding this story here. If we keep religion out of schools, then that also includes Islam as
Absolutely.
well. So the
Yes.
Freedom of Conscience Defense Fund claims the Dieringer School District is officially endorsing Islam, I agree, and is following a script by the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, a terror group,
Yes.
not declared so by the United States, but anyone with a brain on their shoulders knows that CARE is an American-linked terror group.
I believe that to be true.
I believe that to be true. That urges schools to make special accommodation for Muslim students and wish them Ramadan Mubarak, which means happy Ramadan, or Ramadan Kareem, which means have a generous Ramadan. The CARE guidelines also instruct teachers to monitor Muslim students fasting and suggest teachers not schedule any tests.
Yeah, not their job. Look, if a teacher wants to wish them a happy Ramadan,
yeah, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
but then don't jam them up when they say
Don't-
Merry Christmas
yeah.
or Happy Hanukkah.
And don't mandate it.
And
yeah.
don't mandate it, right? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you wanna pull. Oh my God! For whatever reason, this story just popped into my brain housing group, and this, I'll talk to you about this story during the break because we got 3 more minutes to go.
Well,
But
I do want to say this on the educate. Oh, go ahead.
it said, by urging teachers to bless Muslim students in Arabic, the district is running roughshod over the First Amendment's mandate of government neutrality toward religion, said Daniel Pedra, FCDF's executive director. A school district would never... This is it. This is it in a nutshell, where I go... They said a school district would never order teachers to welcome Catholic students during Easter with "He is risen, Alleluia." Singling out Muslim students for special treatment is blatantly unconstitutional. Leftists, you can't have it both ways. If you believe that it's not freedom of religion, but freedom from religion, which is what leftists believe, then keep every faith out of school. Exceptions for no one. Period. End of statement. Not Islam, not anyone.
So I have something that I'd like to discuss real quick if I can find the link.
Okay.
I think I have it right here. And yes, I know we're coming up. I know we're coming up to a break.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes, but hey, you can put a lot. You can pack a lot in 2 minutes.
Yes, you can. But you talk about you talk about the fact that, hey, you know, this is a violation of the Constitution and so forth. And we've talked about the organic documents of the United States before. The organic documents, the documents that really talk about the foundation of the United States, what formed the United States, right? The Declaration of Independence, and this is recognized by Congress. This isn't Sackhead Clint saying that. Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, Articles of Confederation, Northwest Ordinance is listed in there. And if you can pull up the text of the Northwest Ordinance, it talks about, and I want to say it's Section 3, and I'm trying to find it. But the Northwest Ordinance talks something to the effect of a good morality or something of that nature, and again I'm paraphrasing, being necessary. Religion shall be encouraged and they talk about it in context of education. And why is that important? Because Congress passes an ordinance where they specifically link an education with religion and the importance of that in terms of forming a moral society and a society that is going to grow and thrive. So I don't buy the argument of, and I know we got to go to a break, but I don't buy the argument of government can't be in the religion business. The states used to have, I think it was Pennsylvania. Somebody in chat can fact check me on this, but I believe it was Pennsylvania. They used to have a state religion. The First Amendment says Congress shall pass no law, and that was so that we wouldn't have a national religion like you had in the Church of England. And you look at the problems that caused, and what the American colonists were running from, and that's the reason we have the First Amendment, so that we wouldn't have a forced national religion. If you don't like the religion that your state picks, then you can move to another state. But it's not the federal government mandating that you practice a particular religion. Look, there was an article that came out this week that President Trump starts every cabinet meeting with prayer. The Congress used to start with prayer. I don't know if it still does or not. I'd be surprised if it does, but I believe there's still a chaplain in each chamber. Somebody in the convention of the states said that he could hear a prayer from any man of piety. And again, I'm paraphrasing there. So prayer has always been a part of who we are as a country, but it's based on Judeo-Christian values. And I know people hate to hear that. That's like freaking. But
it's historically
it is historically accurate, to the point where it was enshrined in an act of law that was passed. And I'll find that article I'll find the specific verbiage on break as to what it says, and we can discuss the Northwest Ordinance.
Okay.
But it certainly wasn't the Muslim religion, and what they practice is in conflict with the traditional morals and values of America as America was founded. Look, I talked about education real quick in California. California right now is trying to pass a law or a bill that will require the public schools in the state of California in elementary school, I think as young as first grade. It could be second or third. But talking to kids, elementary students, about LGBTQI or whatever it is, and discussing that with kids, and having pictures of body parts and discussing this with elementary aged kids.
Wait. Okay.
This is a bill that is in the California.
But if it's in California,
right
you
now,
can be guaranteed it's going to be in Washington. And doesn't that create a conflict? That's another question for when we come back. I know. We'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights. Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yeah. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sackheads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It's the second hour of the Sackheads Against Tyranny, the Chat Show. And thanks to everybody who happens to be in the chat room right now. I found the one article that I was looking to discover and relate to Sackheads Clint. What we were talking about earlier just kind of clued me into that. And then during the break, also, Sackheads Clint discovered the article that he was looking for. So we'll start with that. We'll start with Sackheads Clint. What were you looking for and what'd you find there, sir?
Yeah, so I wanted to look at the specific text of the Northwest Ordinance, and I found it. I think I said I thought it was Article 3, and of course I was right. But I want to...
Okay.
But I want to read you the text, not all of it, but just for Article 3. This was July 13th, 1787.
Okay.
It's called an ordinance for the government of the territory of the United States northwest of the river Ohio. And it talks blah, blah, blah. And by the way, this was passed by Congress. Be it ordained by the United States in Congress assembled that the said territory, blah, blah, blah. So it was passed by Congress. It's considered to be one of our organic documents. And Article 3 of the Northwest Ordinance, I'm going to read it verbatim, says, quote, religion, morality, and knowledge being necessary to good government and the happiness of mankind, schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. So what does this mean? This isn't schools. This doesn't just say schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. There's a preamble. And that preamble is religion, morality, and knowledge being necessary to good government. So it identifies 3 specific things that should be taught. It says why they're important to be taught. And then it says, here's how we're going to teach them. So how are we going to teach religion, morality, and knowledge? How are we going to teach that, understanding that they're important for good government and for the happiness of a particular population or a nation? How are we going to teach those things? Through schools and through means of education. And we're going to forever encourage that through Congress. That's what that means. So this is something, and this is, again, one of the organic documents of the United States as recognized by Congress. And it talks specifically about the purpose of schools, because they lay it out in the preamble, is the teaching of religion, morality, and knowledge. Now, what religion, might you say? Well, we were not a Muslim country.
No, we come from a Judeo-Christian background.
Yes, whether
we can say it until we're blue in the face.
Yes, whether you're a Quaker or whether you're a Protestant or whether you're a insert religion that was prevalent at the time of the founding. Even our founding fathers differed in there, and this goes back to what we were talking about, the interpretation of Christianity, right? But it is Christianity that was the driving force there. You know, I know there's groups that are teaching George Washington was a deist or George Washington wasn't very religious. There's a great book I read. It's called George Washington's Sacred Fire, where it lays out the evidence of George Washington being a religious man. Great book if you have a chance to read it. But here you have Congress saying that no, it is, in fact, school's job to talk about religion, to talk about morality and making good moral choices. What moral choices? Well, what are morals based on? Your moral compass has to have something to weigh off of, right? Your moral compass has to be calibrated on something. What is a moral compass in the late 1700s calibrated at? It's calibrated based on Judeo-Christian principles. And how do we get that? Through education, which is supposed to be encouraged through Congress, through the federal government, in the Northwest Territories, for the purposes of instilling religion, morality, and general knowledge to the students.
Okay, so what I used to say is, even if you weren't extremely religious, I think you could take the 10 Commandments independently and use those as boilerplate for how you should conduct your life.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any more complicated than that. Can anyone disagree with any of the 10 Commandments that are in there? How you should live your life. I think it's extremely simple. This is a Judeo-Christian nation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as evidenced by the fact that how many courts used to have the 10 Commandments displayed somewhere in the courthouse.
Well, up until atheists, etc., made sure that. Plus, there was a huge atheist that was here in Sacramento, Elk Grove specifically, and was continuously suing governments. And I can't think of that guy's name.
He was UC Davis doctor. He sued the federal government because In God We Trust was on the money.
Okay. Shoot.
Remember that jackass?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he was a medical doctor at UC Davis.
Hang on. I'll find out.
So I don't buy the argument that we talked about where they're supposed to avoid religion at all costs. Well, no, they're not. They're not supposed to avoid religion at all costs. They're supposed to teach religion and morals, but those are based on Judeo-Christian values. Now, court cases have come, and there's been interpretation that say, okay, well, yeah, Congress shall make no law, but really the state can't have a state-sponsored religion, and you can't mandate religion. Now we can't talk about anything at all. Well, then how are we supposed to raise a just or a moral society? How are we supposed to raise our kids? And yes, it's the parents' job, but I'm going to use the left's argument against them here. Just as we talk about sex ed, and really why is that in a school? Because I'm pretty sure that is absolutely not the role of a school, but the role of a parent. But what was the argument with that? Well, what about if the parents don't talk about that with the kids? This is too important of an issue. The schools need to be able to provide education on this topic for the kids. Remember that whole argument, BZ, with sex education?
Yeah.
So let's use this for religion. Well, I understand the parents may not want their child to talk about Jesus, but this is too important of an issue as outlined in the Northwest Ordinance. So therefore, we will be teaching your kid about Jesus. Why is the argument good for one, but not for the other?
I have his name.
Go.
Michael Newdow.
Yeah, that's who that jackass is.
Yep.
Michael douchebag. What the fuck's it? What's his name?
Newdow.
New douche.
Newdow, and
Newdow?
many of his arguments were kicked out because they claimed that he had no standing.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to have standing for your offense in order to go to a court, and many of the times he'd make some kind of a claim where the courts ruled, that's ridiculous, you have no standing in that regard.
Doughboy. Let's call him Doughboy.
The Muslim American Society has a history of being founded by the Muslim Brotherhood in 1993. That's in the suit. That's confirmed in FBI investigations that they were told in a program on Fox and Friends. The Muslim Brotherhood is the mothership of Islamic terrorism, and central to that is a cosmic enmity with Judaism, so they have major problems. Furthermore, there's been investigations by the Middle East Forum that American taxpayer finances go to groups like this to the tune of $310,000 since 2007, going like groups to the Muslim American Society, though over $47 million goes to groups.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about another jackass in Congress if I can.
Okay.
Cory Booger.
Oh,
Senator Booger.
Senator
Booger wants to require a federal license for gun owners. And what he says is Booger. Am I saying that right? Booger. Cory Booger.
It's either G or K.
Booker? That doesn't sound right. Booger.
G or K.
So Booger argues that people, if you want to own a gun, you have to get a license. That you have to, and this is going to prevent violence, because what he says is, just as driver's license demonstrates a person's eligibility and proficiency to drive a car, a gun license demonstrates that a person is eligible and can meet certain safety and training standards necessary to own a gun. So I propose this, Booger. I think we should give away a First Amendment license. And I think that if you want to be a journalist, or if you just want to engage in free speech, you need to prove
you should be certified. Yeah, you should be certified that you have the ability to express yourself appropriately,
right,
and know the strictures and know how to operate appropriately under the First Amendment.
Right, and you have to
good point.
Look, because words are dangerous.
Oh hell yeah!
Right?
Yes.
They talk about how speech from the president is like a dog whistle, and from the right is like a dog whistle. And I'm going to say, hey, maybe you too, Booger. But you have to practice free speech and know what you can and cannot say, so you should get a license. Ooh, you need to get a license before you can exercise your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. You can't remain silent, BZ, until you prove that you can be proficient at remaining silent.
Well,
yeah, you failed.
No,
You just fucked up. You just fucked up, BZ. You're talking. You obviously can't get a Fifth Amendment license.
Okay. All right. Let me throw this out there. Don't we necessarily have essentially strictures on that, like that, on college campuses? Don't you almost need college, well, yes.
Free
the answer is
speech
yes.
zones.
You do need college campuses' permission to have outside speakers come in. And if they don't care for the content of your speech, your appearance can be proscribed entirely.
Yes.
Because it does not correspond with the mindset.
Now, I will say this. I had this
the
discussion.
Closed mindset of a given campus.
Yes. I had this discussion with somebody, and they said, well, actually, don't governments restrict speech a little bit now? Because if you want to practice full free speech at a government building, you have to get a permit to engage in your activity. And I thought about that, and I said, yes and no. The permit won't be denied based on particular speech, right? It won't, or a particular perspective. I mean, look what happened at the California State Capitol when the Nazis were given a permit to hold a rally. Nobody fucking likes Nazis, right? Nazis are a bunch of assholes. But hey, so you have the right to express your position. I want you to, because I want everybody to know how fucked up you are, right?
Perfect example.
Antifa shows up and shut it down. There was a violent confrontation. But that speech was protected under the First Amendment, and therefore a permit was granted. So why are permits granted? Permits are granted to protect the rights of the group wishing to have that space. Because what happens is when a counter group comes up and tries to occupy that space and shut down, much like Antifa did to the neo-Nazi group, now there's really no teeth to protect that space and the speech of the group that pulled the permit. So I can understand the permitting process, but the permit is not to engage in free speech. The permit is for the exclusive use of a particular area, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
And while you have use of that area, you are free to exercise that speech. And if somebody else comes in and is interfering with your use area, you have action to kick them out so that you can continue to exercise your free speech. And the government has the ability to keep that group out in order to protect your speech. So I can understand that, and I think that's the difference. Where I think Booger goes awry is this. He likens a firearm permit to a driver's license. Here's the difference, Booger, you fucking jackass. A driver's license, driving is a privilege. It is not a right. You do not have the right to drive a car. You can walk, you can exist. You do not have a right to drive a car. There's a reason why you take a test. There's a reason it is regulated. Because
no wonder
you do not have a right. However, the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution says that there is a right for the people to keep and bear arms. And why is that, Booger? It's because we, as Americans, do not fucking trust you government people.
Well,
governments.
Wait a minute. No.
Yes, it is.
That stuff doesn't happen here. We're talking about 2019.
Right.
Okay? The Civil War,
right.
It ended in 1865, for God's sake.
Right.
That was almost 200 years ago. The Revolutionary War. That was so long ago. What the hell is wrong with you? That stuff doesn't happen in a modern society. Nowhere does it happen in a modern society. I wish you'd wise the hell up. Venezuela. You're just trying to be contrarian right now.
Venezuela. We need a more modern example of taking guns and oppressing a people.
Well, there are people that are saying that Venezuela's, they're just going through a little bit of a kerfuffle. They'll come around.
Right. When in history has a government ever disarmed a people and then have been allowed to oppress them? Look, the founders.
You're going way over the top.
No, I'm not. This is how fucking stupid.
God, I can't believe you.
This is how stupid that Booger is. But you know what? This illustrates the fundamental lack of understanding. It's either a lack of so I'm giving him credit.
It's a lie.
Well, I don't know. So I'm giving.
Oh, I know, and I'll tell you why later.
I'm giving credit when I say it's a lack of understanding, right? But it could be
no.
if it's not a lack of understanding, then it is
way too understanding.
Then it is far more nefarious than that.
Hell yes.
You look at the argument of, well, do we really need military style weapons? They used to have musket loaders. Well, you know what? The people, the private citizens, were better armed than the military because
we spoke about this last week.
The standard military issue weapon back then was a smoothbore musket.
Let's also bring up the wars of the Native Americans versus the people that were running around in blue uniforms. At the time in the 1800s, their weapons were the same, and they had the ability to use the exact same tactics or different tactics because it was an even playing field. My guess would be that the soldiers in the blue uniforms didn't quite know how to use bows as well, but the Indians certainly figured out how to use rifles and various handguns in a very proficient fashion.
Yeah. And
many things were on an even keel, folks.
There were. And listen, the Native Americans weren't completely innocent in everything either.
Oh God, no.
So let's be clear about let's call it square. There was wrong on both sides. But history is what it is. But yeah, to go back to the original. Right, and what Booger fails to understand or doesn't care about or whatever, when you're talking about the Second Amendment, is we were originally supposed to have a militia, right? Militias were supposed to respond when we had trouble on a national scale. There was supposed to be this every citizen had their own weapon and they could come and train in military tactics for free. The Revolutionary Army, as George Washington saw kind of some of the problems with having militia and the importance of having an actual army during kinds of conflict like that. But militia is still a very important thing, and the U.S. Code still defines the militia as the informal and the formal militia, talking about the formal militia as being the National Guard and the forces of the National Guard, and the informal militia essentially being the people themselves. That is what the militia is. We are the militia.
What people would call, and it's a buzzword, it's a bad buzzword now, posse comitatus. Bad word, very bad word. I want to go to this Newsweek article because you said that you're not convinced that this is a 100% evil campaign by Cory Booker, but even Newsweek is saying this, and these are quotes. Presidential candidate Cory Booker unveiled a suite of proposals on Monday aimed at tackling the growing epidemic of gun violence. Okay, that's how he's framing it.
Yeah, of course he is.
Gun violence.
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with that until it has something to do with that.
Right.
The senator from New Jersey touted his reform package as the most sweeping gun violence prevention proposal ever advanced by a candidate. But there was opposition, of course, by Republican lawmakers, the NRA, et cetera, et cetera. Booker's wide-ranging plan features three main pillars. Number one, keeping guns out of the hand of criminals. Stop. Does that work?
No.
Because we know that criminals, well, if you tell them they can't have a gun, they put them down and they don't try to get them, correct?
Right.
Okay, so number one, that's a proposition that is a fallacious argument. The whole thing is predicated on a fallacious argument. This is getting more towards the truth, though. Restoring civil liability in lawsuits against gun manufacturers. Now, why would you want to restore civil liability in lawsuits against gun manufacturers.
Because you can put them out of business.
If you weren't trying to put them entirely out of business.
Oh, see, I'm talking nefarious as in trying to suppress the American people and instill tyrannical rule.
And they specifically mention the greater scrutiny of the National Rifle Association. The first pillar is a sweeping proposal containing a host of measures that would transform gun ownership in America. Gun owners would have to obtain a license similar to that to drive a car. The states give flexibility in implementing their licensing program. As part of the process, individuals would be have to submit to a background check and pass a gun safety certification course. But the other thing is, then what would that do when, let's say, a less benevolent government took control?
Like a President Cory Booger.
Like a President Booker, or
Booger,
or a President Kamala Harris, or a President AOC, or President Bernie, who definitely all of them want to make sure that they remove your Second Amendment rights.
The problem is this. They can't remove the Second Amendment rights because if you believe in natural right, then the right to self-defense and the right to remain free is a God-given natural right.
Are you talking states versus the federal government?
No, I'm talking about individual versus any government. If our rights come from God, then the government can't remove those rights.
You can't. No,
and if the Second Amendment is attempted to be removed...
No, you can't say that. I'll allow you to say that when we come back, because we've got to... No, I don't know if I'm going to allow you to say that. No, maybe your right to speak needs to be proscribed. Maybe I should put an end to it right here.
Conservative media.
Yeah, so there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
You're listening.
You're
to
done.
The SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. on shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's the final 25 minutes of the Sackheads Against Tyranny. We were discussing what we're going to talk about when we come back. And, God, there's so much stuff that we went over. The first one might be, this is from, of all places, CNN Politics. Apparently, Iran has been attempting to be
naughty,
a little sneaky these days. CNN Politics says that Iran has been moving ballistic missiles by boat. Intelligence showing that Iran is likely moving short-range ballistic missiles aboard boats in the Persian Gulf was one of the more critical reasons the U.S. decided to move an aircraft carrier strike group and B-52 bombers into the region, according to several U.S. officials with direct knowledge of the situation.
But the B-52s are not on the aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln.
No.
This isn't a Doolittle Raiders kind of thing.
No.
Well, I didn't want people to be confused.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me stop just for a second because
Sure.
I know you already know about this. My dad flew B-17s in World War II. He got back, finished his missions, then became an instructor pilot in B-25s. When he became an instructor pilot in B-25s, I don't remember the time frame, but at one point he met Jimmy Doolittle. Jimmy Doolittle and the Doolittle Raiders launched B-25s off of straight-deck aircraft carriers.
The Hornet.
In World War II, the USS Hornet.
Hornet number 8,
and they
not Hornet number 12.
And they flew to attempt to drop bombs on Tokyo, and if nothing else, to get over mainland Japan to prove that they could do it.
Fuck with them.
On a 2-engine airplane with a limited radius.
To fuck with Japan.
To screw with Japan, exactly. Those guys had balls of steel to get up enough RPMs to take a B-25 Mitchell off a short-decked aircraft carrier in World War II? Just to do that required balls that I don't know people that would consider doing something incredibly stupid as that. And yeah, a lot of the Doolittle Raiders went down. And I think the past...
Well, that's because they had to launch early because they thought they were detected.
Yes, but correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the last Doolittle Raider just die about 2 months ago?
I think so. I believe so.
And the last 2 Doolittle Raiders were to open the final bottle of cognac and then tip themselves to all the Doolittle Raiders that went before them. It was a ceremony. Every year when you passed as a Doolittle Raider, they were given a ceremony for that. And the final Raider was supposed to open up the final bottle of cognac. And that person now has passed away. I should bring this into you. I have a signed photograph of, I think, 3 or 4 of the original Doolittle Raiders. before they passed away. I should bring that and show you.
That's pretty cool. I'd like to see that.
It is like way cool. So we thought, oh my God, all the stuff that's going on in Iran. You said all the things that are going on in Israel, because we had Hamas, etc., just rocketing the hell out of Israel, I believe from the Gaza Strip, if I'm not mistaken. There have been a ton of things.
So I want to talk about the USS Abraham Lincoln being
The California
deployed.
State Senate on Thursday.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Being deployed to the Middle East.
Okay.
And John, so Iran's been a bunch of a-holes, right? But the John Bolton said, quote, "Any attack on United States interest or on those of our allies will be met with unrelenting force. The United States is not seeking war with the Iranian regime, but we are fully prepared to respond to any attack, whether by proxy, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or regular Iranian forces." Now, there's a lot in that statement. It seems like a simple statement, but there's a lot there. Bolton is saying, first of all, not only if you don't have to attack us, but any attack on any of our interests, we're going to meet that with, quote, unrelenting force. Basically, we are going to launch shit against you, the likes of which you haven't seen before, and it's going to be a very bad day or week or month for you. We don't want to do it, but we are fully prepared to respond to that. Now, whether it's you yourself doing it through your regular forces, or whether it's through your Revolutionary Guard who's doing it, or if it's just by some proxy, if we find your finger in anything that fucks with us, we are going to come after you with unrelenting force. So, 2 questions. Number 1, do you doubt him?
I wouldn't doubt him, just like when he said in his it might have been his first 6 months, when he decided to rain some happiness down upon some airports in Syria with cruise missiles, and people didn't think he was very serious about that, and then they found out that, oh, by the way, he loves Russians. That must be why he killed so many of them in Syria. No, I don't think I doubt the OMB. I don't think I doubt him, no.
Yeah,
I think he pretty much means what he says.
Well, not that, but does anybody doubt that President Trump would authorize hell to be unleashed with unrelenting force? I don't. He's proven he is not afraid to do it, and he's proven that he does what he says. So I believe him. So question number 2, do you think Iran believes what he's saying?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Even after what he has done in Syria and North.
Here's what I think Iran believes is their ace in the hole, and I see Kaiser is in chat now. The ace in the hole, I believe Iran thinks, is the Strait of Hormuz. I think if they believe if they mine, I don't doubt that there are already mines in the Strait of Hormuz, but most of them have been removed. But I think they think that they can go out and choke us by mining the Strait of Hormuz. They've got small, fast boats, and I truly believe that the mullahs, etc., in Iran they believe that that's their ace in the hole. Now, whether it is truly an ace in the hole, because their first job, I think, would be, the perception, I think, is we will starve the terrible U.S., it will starve the West by making sure that we'll either blow their tankers out of the water or we'll just mine the hell out of it. Nobody goes in, nobody goes out. Oh, and by the way, none of their big-ass carriers can come in either.
But our aircraft can.
Yes. Here's another interesting thing that just occurred within the past 2 days, if I'm not mistaken. Iran, remember we said, the U.S. said under Trump that we're not part of the deal that Barack Obama cut with you?
Yep.
And finally, the Iranians said, well, the deal that we also honored with you Europeans, they cut that off too now. So that's a clear indicator of Iran's mindset. They never had any indication. They never had any any intention to keep
No.
any of their contractual obligations.
Of course not.
But the thing that's so galling is that Barack Hussein Obama was completely ridiculously stupid enough to think that they were going to go ahead and do that.
I don't even think he thought that they'd go ahead and do that. I think he did it because it would earn him political points.
Yeah, but I
don't think he believed that they would follow through with it. I really don't. I believe.
But what was the point of putting a 10-year cap on it so that they can go ahead and lawfully at the time acquire essentially nuclear weapons? They would acquire the ability to produce isotopes, etc., and then to arm the warheads of the missiles that they already possess. That seems just... Who in their right mind could honestly think that Iran would not do that? See, a mind like an Obama or a John Kerry or someone who would sign off on something like that, I don't understand those minds.
I think it was pure politics. I think it's literally all about votes and power. I think. I really don't believe that Obama thought that they would abide by that agreement. But by the time it was discovered, it would be his predecessor's problem, and hopefully the deal would get the Democrats the White House again. I don't think he calculated how unpopular it would be. Just like all these Democrats who are racing to the left and are really alienating middle America and everybody who's middle of the road.
Oh my God, is that a story for another day?
I really don't think they see it as a losing issue. I think that they believe so many people want to believe X that that's what they go through with. Like for example, Donald Trump. I think that they hate him so much, and they project that hate on the rest of the voters, who they think are reasonable. Reasonable in my mind is they also hate Trump, and so if they race to the left and they solidify that loud minority base, minority meaning numbers, not ethnic group, right? But if they solidify that minority base, that they'll get elected because, well, all right-thinking Americans must feel this way. This group is just vocal about it. No?
I want to have Kaiser call in for a second. I'm going to run this question by him. And the other thing is I have an ulterior motive. I want to see if the phone system works.
I just called in. We know the phone system works.
I know, but I want to see if somebody...
From farther than sitting right here?
Further than 5 feet away from me.
Because the proximity of my phone to the computer directly impacts the ability to make a call.
There are radio waves that are emitting from your phone, and those are different from the radio waves that would be emitted from somebody trying to call from without. So
yes.
Isn't that true?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Even I know that's bullshit, BZ.
Okay. Kaiser, call in. I want to see if the phone works. It's true. Hey, Kaiser can call in. I honestly want to see if the phone works.
I just want Kaiser to call in, but it's not. But we know the phones work.
Well, then it's a double. It's a twofer. It's two for the price of one.
Answer the phone.
Oh, there he is. Okay. God. Okay, here we go.
Jesus.
It's a trial. Kaiser, is that you?
Oh yeah, brother. I will mute and let Clint finish this, brother.
Thank God for affirmative action, and we have an old guy who's able to work for us, and BZ is able to be here.
Are you talking about my friend Kaiser that way?
I'm talking about you.
No, you were talking about my good friend Kaiser
like
that.
I love Kaiser.
That's just wrong. That's wrong to put Kaiser in that category. That's just wrong. Kaiser, I'm defending you, sir.
That's bullshit, Kaiser.
Hey, all I'm doing is eating filthy olives. So
okay.
I want no.
Wait.
Honestly,
Who's is filthy? Is filthy?
Okay.
Is Filthy Olive that girl from 3rd and Broadway Street? Is that Filthy Olive?
Oh, you know it, man.
Good man. Good man.
Tasty as they come.
Oh God.
You know, you could take that one of two ways. Kaiser probably meant it one of two ways. I could be wrong. So tell me, Kaiser, in your estimation, since you happen to be on the phone, and thank God you're proving that the phone system works, because trust me, Clint is across from me laughing like a bastard, and I'm sweating bullets. Because, I desperately need the phone system to work tomorrow night.
I called.
I know, but I don't trust you. I don't trust your radio waves. Your radio waves.
Hey, look, I'm going to settle this for all you guys.
Okay.
It is the radio waves that you guys both, no matter how far or close you are, exude. And they just come across this collection of protons on our screen that we all get to see.
PFM.
And yeah, exactly.
See?
And the thing about that that's so unique, it's only when all three of us get together there's a zen in the universe. And we've experienced that before several times, and it's very unique. And I really think the world of both of you gentlemen, and I'll mute myself now.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to
you're
work
good.
Mute yourself. What I was going to do is I was going to ask you about Iran, because we got this story that Iran is moving ballistic missiles by boat, and that we've moved the what did you say it was, the Lincoln Carrier Group?
The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Group.
The Lincoln Carrier Group into the area, and they got some concerns over the missiles. Was one of the multiple threads of intelligence from various sources that they thought Iran had a capability and an intention to launch strikes against U.S. targets. Now, they're not talking nukes yet, but they're talking Iran's possibility of launching missiles. And
that comes back to the old scud in a tub.
Yeah, exactly.
I have talked
Okay.
about this with you.
Yeah, the smaller scuds in the tub.
I think with Clint. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. So it said the U.S. could send Patriot missile batteries back to the region after we brought some back home. But in your mind, what might be a motivating factor for Iran to start to make a move now with missiles in the Middle East? What's predicating this? Are they feeling a pressure? Or are they doing it simply because they can?
Well, no, it's the pressure on their own populace. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Here's the point being. It is the pressure within their own home. We've seen how they've been having to put down certain things. I'm not a big neocon, nor will I ever be. I'm definitely not a socialist. But you have to understand where terrorism comes from. And it did start with the Soviet Union. And you're even seeing it come into our own shores. So I wouldn't even doubt. Here's the thing that really bust my bolus, to use the Spanish terms, so you guys don't get in any trouble for what I say. It really does bust it. I think there's also, notice the anti, and I hate using the word Semitic because I know it's a fraudulent term, because Iranians, Arabs, and Jews are all Semitic tribes. But the real deal is these people divest from Israel. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but what I'm saying is you're seeing this filling within the college campuses, the campi, as Rush would say. And honestly, I think this is a horrible thing in one aspect, because who is the great Satan and who is the little Satan? And
well, the great Satan is the U.S.
There you go. And that's the fact. And they don't care if it's your family, my family, Clint's family, or anybody out in there in the listening audience family. They want to exert some power. Remember, I've done a show on this. Power is power and the golden rule. Those two things, do not forget. Obama did everything he could to give Iran back. His second hand was, remember, can't think of the girl's name. Oh, yeah, I do. It was Rosie O'Donnell. No, it wasn't Rosie O'Donnell. I just lied to you. It was the comedian, the actual comedian, Roseanne Barr, who said she looked like somebody from Planet of the Apes and didn't even know she was black. That lady...
Oh, that's Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah,
she was talking about Valerie Jarrett,
who was Iranian, and so at least raised in Iran, and she has sentiments. That'd be like me telling you I have no sentiments towards Iraqis or Afghanis I worked with. I'd be a liar. You know, for those people, they've earned their cred. But women are a different sort. They look at those people as they're all my people. They're not. And yet they forget who are their people. And honestly, there used to be a thing in the federal government. BZ, I heard when you said you left, you've heard this phraseology before, and I know Clint has. It's going to get real when we lose a city. That's where the Scud in the Tub actually was a real thing. And I'll let you guys talk on that.
The apparent concern is that the U.S. thinks that the maritime threat is real. It's an actual thing. And they're thinking that maybe Iranian-backed forces in Yemen could threaten transit in the Red Sea, which is the sea that's basically in between Saudi Arabia and Egypt, and also the Sudan, Eritrea, Yemen. It's basically a north-south sea that empties out onto the Gulf of Aden. And they were saying also, and I find this kind of interesting, the U.S. is not ruling out the possibility that Iran will strike U.S. troop locations in Iraq and Syria, although Iran has been an ongoing threat there for quite some time. Now, I find that very interesting. The one other thing that I learned today before this, before Clint decided that we wanted to do this story, is that apparently Iran is having some very serious economic problems at home as well. So that would be true with North Korea, which is why I think North Korea is throwing some missiles these days. They're trying to make a statement for their people. And I wouldn't be surprised if Iran is trying something like this in terms of attempting to make a statement for their folks.
And North Korea also did that right after they met with Putin.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. And everybody always wants to forget. They always say the Chinese came down once we passed the Yalu River and all these different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they forget who actually funded the beginning of Korea, and that was the Russians. That 12-mile border, the Soviet Union. It wasn't the Russians; it was the Soviet Union from Stalin, and that was to push the Red Menace down. This is the thing the college campi do not want to talk about because they push for it in our own damn country, and yet everybody doesn't want to sack up. You know, we are the sack heads, but it's not because we have our testicles hanging off our chins or anybody else's.
No, not unlike Thanos. Thanos does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We are the men that understand history, and the Soviets caused this entire problem back in the day, and the Chinese finished it until we said, we will drop a thermal nuke on your ass, and I will mute.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thanks for
Kaiser.
calling in.
Appreciate it.
I am vindicated. Sackhead Sean is vindicated. The phone works! Hallelujah!
You could have fucking celebrated at the beginning of the show when I called.
Hallelujah! No, what did I tell you? It's the Clint sphere of influence.
I miracled my way into the phone lines.
Right? Wasn't it? It was the Clint sphere of influence. We wanted to do one more topic, one more story real quick. We got 2 more minutes to go.
Go.
And you mentioned this, and I'd like to end with this.
Go.
The appeals court just allowed the Trump administration to send asylum seekers to Mexico.
They sided with Trump?
While they're waiting for their process. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals late yesterday granted the Trump administration's request to, and it's the Ninth Circuit, for fuck's sake.
Wow. Hasn't he been appointing a lot of justices to the Ninth Circuit?
And he wants to do more. Imagine that. But he said basically they agreed. They granted the Trump administration's request to send asylum seekers back to Mexico to wait out court proceedings. I'm sorry. That's a great decision. That is a wonderfully great decision.
That is a decision steeped in logic.
Yes, it is.
Law.
Why can't we protect our own people, our own borders? And there's no reason we can't.
We can't. You know, I one question real quick.
Okay.
Why is it we are not prosecuting the governor of the state of California and all other elected officials?
I know where you're going.
For a violation of 8 U.S.C. 1324, bringing in and harboring certain aliens. It is a federal crime.
You have attorney generals that historically have not wanted to do that because they've been leftists. And right now, we didn't even get to Barr. Right now, Barr is, I think he's occupied with a lot of other stuff.
He is.
That's coming in. God, we didn't even get to that
So
tonight
under this code, any person who knowingly or in reckless disregard of the fact that an alien has not received prior official authorization to come, to enter, or reside in the United States, brings to or attempts to bring the United States in any manner whatsoever.
Yep, that's the one. Hey, are you here next week?
I am here next week.
Okay. But the week after, you're not, right?
I'm not. I'm in D.C. I'm going to try and do it from remotely. Remember? Okay. I'm going to try. But the week after that, I am unable to.
Okay. All right. Well, so we'll see you next week, won't we?
Yes.
Yeah. And you'll see me next week.
Yes.
You'll see the both of us next week.
And everybody watching will see us both.
That's right. So don't go anywhere. Oh, tomorrow night, the Underground Professor, Michael Jones, is going to be on in the first hour to talk about all things constitutional. Boy, do I have an assload of questions for him. And the second hour, an SHR Media Network special report, Footsteps, the Spectre of William Barr. Don't miss it.
Is it over yet?
I think so. Good night.